Welcome back to Broncos Beat. Alexis Perry here alongside James Palmer, Nick Ferguson, and Cecil Lammey. You guys, in the last segment, we touched on the Broncos offense, specifically Drew Lock and his options at receiver tonight. But we can't forget to mention the dynamic duo in Melvin Gordon and Phillip Lindsay running the ball here tonight. Offensive coordinator Pat Shurmur says that he hopes they'll play an equal amount, a 50-50 split. But is that really possible?
Well, I'm not sure if it's really possible. Obviously, it is possible, but I think the way it becomes possible is Phillip Lindsay has to run the football effectively to make it possible. And I think that's where this kind of conundrum in that sense plays into where it'll be 50-50 if Phil runs the ball great. I do think they still want to find a variety of ways to get him the football out in space and make some plays and be more effective than that guy that, physically gets beaten down when you start running in between the tackles consistently over and over again. Specific plays last year where I know he was upset to where he's making those runs in the middle of the field to set up a pass play. And essentially you're beating down a smaller back in that manner. I do think also this ties into the first part to where if Courtland Sutton's limited in any capacity whatsoever, you rely on your run game and your tight ends, which we mentioned as well, even more so as a quarterback and an offense.
I'm going to channel my inner Denzel and say, leave no doubt. That's what Phillip Lindsay's going to do as a runner. Now, as a receiver, as a pass protector, these are things where he'll need to stand out. And when we talk 50-50, I don't think it's going to be 50-50 in terms of snaps. I believe that the snaps will favor Melvin Gordon, but the touches could favor Phillip Lindsay, and they could actually be closer to 50-50, not in terms of times on the field, but when Phillip Lindsay is on the field, as James is alluding to, use him as that receiver out of the backfield, run those Texas routes. I want to see what Nick always talks about, 21 pony. I want to see both of these backs on the field at the same time. And again, leave no doubt. I have a good feeling Phillip Lindsay will leave no doubt.
Well, let's be totally honest, guys, that it's never 50-50 in the NFL. It's always going with the guy with the hot hand. Now, Phillip Lindsay may start, but we know Melvin Gordon is going to play because the Broncos made him the sixth highest paid running back in the NFL. And why pay a guy that amount of money and not really getting touches? Melvin Gordon is a bigger back. And you have to figure that this is going to be one of those 9-on-7 types of games, knowing as though Derrick Henry is on the opposite side of the field. And knowing as though Courtland Sutton may not play in this game, and if he doesn't, once again, it becomes that 9-on-7. Can we play keep away from Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill? And you have to be able to use both Melvin Gordon and Phillip Lindsay interchangeably. And you're right, Cecil. I've talked about it before. I want to see 21 pony. That's where you put the defense on the heels because you can flex a guy out in Phillip Lindsay and have Melvin Gordon dot the I, and you can hand the ball off to him and still throw screen passes to Phillip Lindsay. So hopefully they give us 21 pony, but it's never 50-50 when it comes to the NFL.
Yeah, well, in order for this Broncos ground game to be effective, the Broncos offensive linemen need to do their jobs as well. The Broncos are absolutely filthy at guard with Dalton Reisner and Graham Glasgow. And the rookie center, Lloyd Cushenberry, looks to be kind of the steal of the draft. So how much confidence do you think this interior of the O-line can give this Broncos offense as a whole?
Well, confidence always grows, right, when you can shove the ball down the other team's throat. If that opening drive, they march down the field and go 16 plays for a touchdown, and they're just manhandling the line of scrimmage, well, man, that second series is going to have a lot of confidence. But if you get pushed back in that first series and Drew Lock's running for his life, or you're seeing Melvin Gordon get tackled behind the line of scrimmage, I'm not sure what that confidence will be on the interior part of the offensive line. I do think that's the most talented part of their offensive line. I think we all would agree on that, and that's where they're going to have to make their hay, I think, between the tackles in a sense of pushing the middle of the offensive line down the field. Lloyd Cushenberry, I love that everybody raves about him. I've heard great things about him and his smarts. It still is a rookie center. And people I've talked to around the league say centers, tight ends, receivers as rookies are very difficult with the offseason that we have had to make an impact right away. And Nick hinted on it with Jerry Jeudy. So I do think that's a spot to keep a huge eye on. But if he comes out playing great, and that's the strong suit of this offensive line that we all expect it to be, we want to see the effects on the field of them pushing a defensive line back.
Interior offensive line is so very important. We see it across the league in Sunday's action. I'll even flash back to Thursday night in the season opener with Osamele blasting open holes for the Chiefs. So you've got mean, nasty players in Dalton Reisner and Graham Glasgow, and you've got really intelligent players when you include Lloyd Cushenberry and Reisner and Glasgow. So use that smarts, use that toughness, use that nastiness to come out and make that statement. Everyone thinks the Titans are going to be that run-heavy offense. You can be a bully on the field at home if you're Denver.
Cecil, you mentioned the Titans' run-heavy defense, which it is thanks to their Pro Bowl running back in Derrick Henry. So, Nick, without any live periods, without any tackling during the preseason, how do the Broncos tackle the freight train that is Derrick Henry?
Well, it's going to be all hands on deck. That means 11 guys constantly swarming to the ball. If you're Coach Fangio, you're telling your defense, we want to be in a position where when we show the game film on Tuesday or Wednesday, I want to see all guys running to the ball. We want to make sure that there's at least 3 or 4 guys at the point of attack trying to chop down Derrick Henry. I mean, A.J. Bouye, I'm sure this entire week he's told this defense what to expect because this Tennessee Titans team played the Jacksonville Jaguars on Thursday Night Football. And I do believe that Derrick Henry rushed for more than 200 yards that game. And A.J. Bouye was one of those guys that Derrick Henry shoved out of the way with the stiff arm. So he's telling his guys, listen, don't allow me to tackle or anyone to tackle this guy by himself. So it's all hands on deck. It has to be a game tackling type of day. If it's not, Derrick Henry once again will have a monster game on the ground.
I'll go back to the AFC championship game from a year ago, and I covered that game, and I remember talking to Frank Clark at length before that game about how do you slow down Derrick Henry, and the biggest thing that they had in their head was you got to kill the engine, and that is you get to him before he gets that head of steam going. Get to him at the line of scrimmage, because once he gets past that line of scrimmage and gets to the second level, he starts picking up steam, and I don't know how many DBs in the league are going, I know it's week 1, but here we go, and you're going low and trying to take down Derrick Henry. The goal is to get him at the line of scrimmage, slow down that speed there, and then hopefully you have a better spot to where your linebackers can come up, and he doesn't have that head of steam going. That was the Chiefs' mindset in the AFC Championship game.